is the Big O Show.
Alrighty. How you doing, man? Doing good?
I'm doing wonderful, man. I'm doing wonderful. Like I told you on Thursday, we're back here on Monday. We got an idea of what life looks like in the fall. Beautiful outside. Felt nice. Just took the dog out for a lap. You know, just typical Miami living.
That's right. But hey, listen, if you want, we can ship your ass out back to Buffalo for the winter.
Oh, I got to respond to that? My bad. I thought you were talking to yourself. That's on me. Poor communication. My bad. No, we'll be back in Buffalo. Let me see what the date is. I have the calendar pulled up here.
Don't even depress yourself with that. Don't worry about it.
Oh no, I love a Buffalo trip. I love going there when it's cold outside. I get to dust off my pea coat collection. I get to break the turtleneck out. You know, the high top J's and everything. Like, I love it, man. For a weekend.
We understand you work there, so you have to, give them a little love, and that's fine. No, but listen, all seriousness. Prayers and lots of love and support to everybody in Buffalo, man, because rough weekend this weekend in Buffalo, man. Just some unacceptable shit that went on, and just the kind of stuff that there's no place for it in our society. So, all kidding aside, and we have some fun with Buffalo and all that stuff, but Buffalo strong down here for everybody, man, and support to all the people up there, because that was just unacceptable.
Yeah, I was going to steer the conversation after that last note either way, but yeah, man, like I said, I'll always love Buffalo, man. That was in this career I've moved a lot. I had not stayed anywhere longer than a year before I got to Buffalo, and I was there for 2 years, which felt like a lifetime, considering kind of this nomadic lifestyle I'd adopted. But it's a community that means well. Of course, it has its problems. One of which, it is the fact that it had one grocery store serving a gerrymandered, redlined Black community. And the fact that it's so well known that a man was able to drive 3.5 hours, 4 hours to take advantage of that fault. There's faults in every community, so don't get me wrong, but it's still a good community. It's still a group of people who, for the most part, really care about each other, really look out for each other. We
have a lot of listeners in that area, actually.
It's a fan base that has become famous for raising money for other communities' charities and other players' charities, and so and it's one that doesn't shy away from doing it for its own people. So I like the support that I've seen from within Buffalo. It hurt to see that wasn't my Tops per se, but Tops was my favorite grocery store over there. It was probably about 10 minutes away from where I used to live. So, I don't particularly know anybody that was personally affected by it. I do know people who shopped there, and I do know people who avoided going there that day by a matter of, an hour or less. So it was a hard day, man. It was hard to see that.
It's a hard weekend, bro. Milwaukee, Laguna Woods, California, and Buffalo. It was a hard weekend overall in America because the East, the Midwest, and the West were all affected seriously by gun violence. So it was.
Isn't it wild that it's something that happens so frequently and so widely in this country that I roll my eyes at the what about this shooting? What about this incident? I hate whataboutism, but it is crazy that it happens so frequently that we can legitimately miss major life-changing events for a community just because, there was another shoot. Oh, I didn't see about Houston because I was looking at Los Angeles. So I didn't see LA because I was still concerned about Milwaukee. I didn't see Milwaukee because I'm still reading about Buffalo. Like it's this constant cycle here, man. And I feel like there should be some kind of case study, some sort of psychological review on our citizens, because I really feel like we are more numb to it than we should be.
Well, as it continues to happen, it that numbing effect comes with it, unfortunately, because it's no longer, oh my God, this never happens. No, now school shootings happen like all the time now, so it just kind of becomes norm. But the reality that has set in for all of us is you're not safe anywhere, and that's the thing that has come to light, that it doesn't matter where you're at. Doesn't matter what part of the country it's at, what part of the world. Um,
Real quick,
diligence has to be
there's
taken
something.
at any time, everywhere.
There's something we got to address in these comments, that we miss life-changing events by the mainstream media, or we don't hear about it because news likes to pick and choose which shootings they cover. How the hell do y'all think that you hear about these things if it's not for local media? Like local media does not get the credit that it deserves for its coverage of these events. Now, granted, the CNNs and the Fox Newses and the MSNBCs of the world, they might not pick up on every event, but I just hate when local media is looped in to mainstream media like that, because they do an incredible job of covering their communities. It's not a matter of picking and choosing. So it's just like people will post. I see people post like videos of local news reports and say like, why is there no coverage of this? Well, that is the coverage. Like, this is the coverage. Like I don't know. It's baffling, but no, man, mainstream media is not trying to I don't know, control your message like that, man. It just.
No. I mean, none of those stories were politically driven. It was just twisted people and terrible situations, and that's it. And they were all covered the same way. I watched it all weekend on different news channels, anyways, and a lot of local channels, actually, because that's what I love about YouTube, man. I'm able to watch local channels all over the country, including like Buffalo stations and things like that I was able to watch directly, to watch the coverage in Laguna, to watch the coverage in Milwaukee, to watch the coverage in Buffalo. I watched a lot of it through the local channels there in each of them. So,
and it's like this is 2022. It's a different world than let's say the 1980s, where you needed to rely on the mainstream media in order to get news from around the country. You don't need to do that anymore. You can easily watch a Milwaukee, like you just said, you can easily watch a Milwaukee or a Buffalo local station from Miami. You can watch it from your phone. Like, you don't have to, like I said, it's just kind of a tired argument to blame the mainstream media, because do you really need the mainstream media? Like, you're making the conscious decision to watch a national network. You could easily hop on your phone, Google Buffalo, and
well, I have like on my I don't know, for those of you that watch, like I'm a big YouTube TV buff. I love YouTube TV, and I'm signed on. Like, I go through all the major cities and I sign on to all their local affiliates. So I get so on my feed, when it comes in general, I'll start getting headlines from all over the place. It doesn't matter where it's at. And I'm always getting all the local channels from, it doesn't matter if it's Sacramento or if it's Austin, Texas, or if it's Buffalo, or if it's, whatever, in North Carolina, Boone, North Carolina, it's whatever local TV channel. I'll get the headlines from that area. You know what I mean? And so it's actually pretty cool.
If you do
those local broadcasts.
Yeah, just do the little work. You got to you got to put in a little work yourself sometimes, but yeah, it's not going to be spoon fed to you by CNN is not going to do. CNN is just simply not going to tell the stories of your community or specific communities better than the community itself. So if it's really a concern to you that the mainstream news isn't covering anything, if your concern is that you are not being properly, I guess, acquiesced to the situation, then you are going to have to go do the work yourself. Like, if the problem is that you don't feel informed enough, inform yourself. Go find organizations. These stories are being covered. You know how many DMs and replies I got, how many, of course, but what about Chicago's? Have you heard about this? What about the Christmas parade that got crashed into? That wasn't covered at all.
And I was watching this weekend in Chicago. All the kids were going crazy in that square. And so now Lightfoot just put on a curfew in Chicago for everybody under 18. by 11 o'clock, you're gone. You can't be out in the street, and if you're not out with an adult, it's not going to be good for you because they had a whole bunch of kids in the middle of the street over the weekend. They were just kicking and hitting cars as they were driving by, and so they're yeah. But again, that's me watching all kinds of local channels all over the place, so I can
even if you go on Google, you're reading what a reporter wrote. That I kind of think I see what you're trying to say, but that's how it works, my boy. Like somebody's got to cover it. You know, somebody's gonna cover it. The trick is like you're gonna have to read multiple stories. You're gonna have to read multiple stories from multiple outlets because while a lot of the same information is generally going to be the same, some outlet might have talked to somebody that another one didn't. And that's how you piece it together yourself. But I think my main point is like media in general gets a lot of blame for lack of coverage or lack of comprehensive coverage when people aren't taking personal responsibility to go out and do any of the work themselves. Like you're not taking responsibility for not having read enough on any particular subject because there are very few stories around, like major stories like this, that don't get covered into the dirt, man, like that don't get covered to death. Like you just have to put in a little bit of effort, like a minuscule amount of effort to do it. But yeah, got a little sidetracked. Like I'm still, I'm sports. I made a conscious decision to go into sports instead of news for a reason. But
I can't bring you on as a Buffalo reporter and not talk about what happened in Buffalo. And I don't want to avoid also what happened in Buffalo or Laguna or Milwaukee because obviously it's not something that we should avoid. It's something that we should discuss, unfortunately. All right, let me segue into football now. The Melvin Ingram move. Your thoughts on that one? Because I love the move personally.
You can never have too many receivers and you can never have too many pass rushers. And this obviously falls into the latter. When you look at Miami's pass rush rotation, they're the most aggressive unit in the league in terms of, blitz rate. I think they were a 10th of a percentage behind Tampa Bay, but they really only have three main edge rushers, which is it's Agba, it's Van Ginkel, and now it's Jalen Phillips. And then they might use Jerome, they might send Landon Roberts, but then there's a reason why Javon Holland and specifically Brandon Jones get set so often because they don't really have that rotation. They didn't really have that rotation on the edge. This adds quality depth to that rotation. So now in the fourth quarter, no longer those three guys kind of tired. Now in the fourth quarter, you've got Melvin Ingram coming at you when your line is tired and Jalen Phillips on the other side, or maybe it's Emmanuel Agba on the other side. Maybe they could bounce. Maybe they bounce. They might have Melvin Ingram inside. Like there's so many different things that they can do.
Right, Phillips on the inside. You could have actually, and Ingram and the other kid. Who am I missing now on the outside? So you can mix it up now. Overall, that's the scary part too. If you really want to get after people.
Yeah, it's like I said, you can never have too many pass rushers. I'm really excited for. Not just I don't think we're really going to see too much of it in OTA starting on Tuesday, but really excited for the summer and the preseason to see what kind of combinations we get on that defensive line in pass rush situations and see how that impacts their coverage if they don't have to use Brandon Jones as a pass rusher anymore. If they can use him more in the box, if they can use him more to drop back, I think it's just going to add so many more looks that this defense is going to throw at offenses. And man, like I really think I just think it's the move. It's one of the bigger moves of the offseason, and they've made a lot of big ones, but not really on the defensive side of the ball. To be quite honest, this was, besides I think it's Keon Crossan, this is their only defensive signing that really comes to mind. It's the only major addition that comes to mind. So they needed that to a straighter.
They had to focus on the offense, which that was really the priority, which makes a lot of sense. And this is kind of icing on the cake moves for the defense.
Like it's and what I think we should probably talk about more. And obviously, everybody's focus is on the offensive side of the ball. That's why they hire the offensive-minded coach. That's why they trade for Tyreek Hill and they make all these additions. But they're doing a lot of this under the assumption that defense keeps up its level of play from the second half of last season. Like that is still a catalyst to this year. Because if that defense still plays like we saw at weeks 1 through 7 last year to start the year, I mean, they've got New England, Baltimore, Buffalo, Cincinnati to start the season. If the defense is bullshitting, that's 0-4 to start the year, and all of a sudden you're in a hole. You can't be in a hole in the AFC this year. So they needed to make as many bolstering moves as possible on defense. It couldn't just be re-sign our own guys. Like, you got to find a way to improve in one way or another. I think that they do that by adding Melvin Ingram, a motivated Melvin Ingram.
What grade did you give the Dolphins this offseason?
Oh, it's an A in climbing, man. It's an A in climbing. They addressed every need. They addressed even positions that weren't necessarily a need. They addressed it with excess. They got quality playmaking, star power on both sides of the ball. I love the coaching moves. Like, I don't have a complaint about any spot on that coaching staff. They didn't do anything drastic to overcompensate for a need. I thought that the money that they gave to Teron Armstead is fair compensation for the best free agent on the market and one of the best left tackles in the league. I thought the trade compensation for Tyreek Hill, I mean, I do it 9 times out of 5. Like, this was, like I said, a first and a second. I'm going to damn about a third, fourth, fifth, whatever round pick. Don't care. I don't care. Because basically, I mean, you're saying, okay, we traded a 4th string right guard from Middle Tennessee State for Tyreek Hill. Yeah, have 4 of them. Respectfully, have 4 of them for Tyreek Hill. Like, it's an A and it's climbing. Now, I think it's going to get an A with a little bit of asterisk. It's incomplete until we see what Mike McDaniel and his staff can actually do on the football field. You know, it's a temporary A until we find out what their scheme is, how they've built chemistry this offseason. Do players respond to him in the face of adversity? I want to see them get down by 2 scores, and I want to see how the team reacts, things like that. So it's a tentative A, but on paper, yeah, man, like, this is one of the better off seasons in the NFL.
All right, so I'm going to ask you a question that you really can't answer based on full-out facts. You might have a taste of a fact, a piece of a fact, a little piece of a nugget, but most of it is probably going to be answered on your gut, okay? Because you can't prove all of the stuff that went on in the past. So I ask you this. In prior off seasons, there were things that happened at one point, and then it was a yin and then a yang. Well, wait a minute. You're going to sign Kyle Van Noy, but then you're going to cut him right after the following year. You're going to sign Flowers, and then you're going to have to be forced to trade him right away. Malcolm Brown, you thrust him in like he's going to be your starting guy over some of the other guys, and then now he's, is he even in the picture now? There were things at times that you just wondered what was going on. Did it seem to you that this offseason was an offseason that there was no interruptions? That it seemed like the front office just flowed and did what they had to do and didn't have to check with somebody or have somebody check them on a consistent basis? Again, not something you can go on a lot of a proof, but you might have to go on a little bit more gut and feel. What did you think about this Dolphin offseason compared to the prior 2 off seasons?
I mean, I wasn't necessarily here for either of the 2 prior off seasons. Obviously, I was up in Buffalo, as we know. I mean, this offseason didn't come without any hiccups. There's a massive lawsuit and a coaching search, which, I mean, you almost forget that there was an entire coaching search. You almost forget about the lawsuit because of how many events.
Lawsuit has nothing to do with personnel.
I'm just saying, you almost forget how
about football moves. I'm not talking about any.
I'll get there. I'm saying you almost forget that it happened because of the volume of things from a football perspective that have happened, the volume of moves and trades and signings, and it was just stream of consciousness right there. But I mean, they got a late start to free agency. I remember that up to the major moves of free agency. Obviously, they re-signed Agba, and they bring in Connor Williams and Mostert and Edmonds, and everybody, myself included, said, okay, like, it's fine. these moves are fine. I'm not mad at them. They're not pushing you over the edge. Like the Raiders are getting Devontae Adams and you're getting, Cedric Wilson, respectfully, that's not pushing you over the edge. But then that second week, that's when we really started to see it pick up. So it felt like there's probably a deliberate plan.
They're a patient and deliberate front office. They're not a desperate front office. They don't play that game. I can appreciate
the fact that, like I said before, when you asked me to grade the Dolphins offseason, they didn't make hasty moves. They didn't make desperate moves. They didn't overpay. They didn't overcompensate out of desperation. So, I love what they've done from top to bottom this offseason. I want to see it on the field. I can say I love what they did without being like, okay, Super Bowl or bust. That's it. This is it. Like, I've seen all I need to see. No, like, let's not cap here. I still need to see it come together on the field. And like I said before, like, I really want to see how this team respond. Everything is cool when, again, respectfully, everything is cool when there's no pressure and you've got your coaches rocking Yeezys and a bust down watch at practice with Ray-Bans. Like, it's easy to have fun in games and smile and all that. I want to see what happens if this team is on a 2-game losing streak heading into Thursday night football against the Bengals. I want to see what happens when they get down 2 scores in the first half. I want to see how they react to their coach in adversity.
That's all something else. Did it seem like this was an unabridged offseason for them? Did it seem like they were able to work at their pace and they weren't really, in other words, it didn't seem like Mike McDaniel was in the middle of the way of anything, pretty much.
No, I think, like I said, I've said it before, he and Chris Greer were like an old buddy cop video over there at the draft. It seems like they worked well together. He said during his introductory press conference that a major reason he wanted to come here is for the ability to work with Chris Greer. Stephen Ross gave us the little chain of command during that same press conference that, he works under Greer. Greer kind of answers to Stephen Ross, or Greer and Tom Garfinkel answer to Stephen Ross. Like, there's a clear little chain of command there. I think the feng shui looks nice so far. But, what I'm saying is, like, we won't be able to tell who was getting in whose way because shit is still sweet right now. We're still in the honeymoon phase. They haven't touched the football field in any real capacity yet. They do it on, I believe it's Monday it starts, Tuesday we get access, or Tuesday it starts and we get access same day. Well, it doesn't matter. Like, they haven't really had any competition yet. They haven't had real football yet. So it's hard to say. But I think that you don't hire an offensive guru and you don't let him, bring all this offensive-minded staff if you don't give him a say in the type of personnel he needs. So I think Mike even made a joke. It was deadpan, and so you kind of had to be there to really laugh. But he's like, yeah, clearly Chris didn't think I was good enough of a coach to coach the team as constructed. So he had to go out and give me all these good players, like, obviously joking. But it seems like Greer is giving him every chance to succeed. He's giving him everything he needs to succeed here.
Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ. And of course, you can catch him twice a week here so you can get the edge, right? All you got to do is go to myedgedrink.com, get 10% off the shipping there. myedgedrink.com, the most delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste, the best energy drink on the planet. Marcel, before I let you go, what are you working on at ESPN so Dolphin fans can check you out?
I'm getting my football hat back on, man. Now it's time for overanalyzing season. We got OTAs coming up. It's time to let y'all know who's practicing where, who's not getting reps, who's looking good, who's somebody to watch, who's a cut candidate, all of that. Speculation season, my guy. That's what we're working on here. Plus, got a couple other features under my belt that I'm hoping to pump out by the end of the summer. But we are starting to get back into actual football, man. And I could not be happier, could not be more excited to get back into that. The F1 break was fun. All the little mundane off-season events were fun. But now it's time to get back to the matter at hand.
There you go. Follow him on Twitter at Marcel_LJ and catch his work there at ESPN and twice a week here with our Edge Energy drink, Miami Dolphins report. Marcel, as always, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. See you Thursday.
You got it. There he is, Marcel Louis-Jacques.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.